Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen.
Hey, welcome to Big Questions this week. This week, I decided I'd like to talk about tattoos. You know, what do you think about them? Do you have any? Have you seen any good ones? Have you seen any bad ones? So I'll go first. I do not have any tattoos. I don't know why. Well, I kind of know why. I've never really wanted a tattoo. I think it has to do with something like, I don't think I would ever be able to decide that I'd want some kind of design or drawing or illustration or whatever on my body that I would be stuck with for the rest of my life. I guess you can get them technically removed, but it's not pretty and it's not pleasant. But I just never really had the desire to get one. I've seen some good ones, and I've seen a lot of bad ones over the years. In fact, you can go online, and there's plenty of sites out there that have galleries and galleries of. In fact, I'll provide a link to one that I saw of really, really horrible bad tattoos. That being said, we know a couple of really good tattoo artists, are friends of ours. Noah, who runs Moo Tattoo in Philly here, and our friend Donno, who doesn't live in Philly anymore. I think he lives down in North Carolina. He has a tattoo shop down there. And over the past couple of years, I thought about tattoos more and more because they're everywhere now. They used to be not rare, but you just didn't see them everywhere. Now you see them everywhere. Everybody has a tattoo, it seems like. And it's not shunned at work anymore, it seems like. I know plenty of people that I work with that have tattoos, and you know, it's no big deal really. But so within the last couple of years, there is actually a drawing that if I ever got a tattoo, I think this would be my tattoo. And we'll put a picture of it up right now. And it's a drawing by my son when he was in 3rd grade. And it's a drawing that he did of our cat that we had at the time. The cat's name was Vowel. And I think that if I ever got a tattoo, that maybe this would be the tattoo that I got. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, over the years, the Milkmen have been sent pictures from fans that have gotten the Elsie the Cow tattoo in all kinds of places. So there are a lot of Elsie Cow tattoos out there, and you know, it's flattering and it's fun and nice, but I don't think I'd get an Elsie the Cow tattoo. Yeah. So anyway, that's my feeling about tattoos. I've seen some good ones. I've seen a lot of bad ones, and I'd be very selective about tattoos that I got.
You're going to want to get one by the end of this episode. I used to, for a while, I forgot Dan got one because Dan got his recently, but I thought, I often refer to this band as the U.S. Teens featuring Raul. For those of you Turtles fans, that's a picture on the back of a Turtle album of 3 guys in like cardigans and this sort of like Hispanic gentleman in leather with a whip. And so I'm usually the odd man out on these things. I have tattoos, not as many as my wife. I sent over to Joe for this thing pictures of my wife, some of my wife's tattoos. My wife is covered in tattoos, and on her ring finger, she has my name. And that was I'm not flipping you off. That's my ring finger. She has my name, which was a very nice present to me, which is awesome. I need to get something with her name on it. So here's what I have, and we'll go left arm first, and then we'll take a look at the right arm. So see if we can see this. I've also sent pictures of this in case it's not clear enough. All right, this is the first tattoo I ever got. And again, like Gaz Williams, I'm really into the KLF. And maybe I should have gotten KLF logo. People, if you get a band logo, think wisely, okay? Because you're now tied to that band for life. So you know how like the black flag bars are now called the red flag bars? Yeah, so think about carefully about what you get. A KLF logo would have aged well. The gentleman who did this, a gentleman by the name of Eric Hogan, did this in the 90s. And unfortunately, Eric was murdered not long afterwards. he was gunned down. So very sad story. He was one of the first sort of West Coast tattooers who were doing sort of new style. There's a little new school here. And he, very talented young man. Unfortunately, he was murdered, and they never caught his murderer. I think he was murdered in like 2001. But just a really nice guy. He did this. I'm very, very honored to actually have an Eric Hogan. And for a long time, I wouldn't have anything done near or around it. I left it. And then my friend Noah, who we mentioned earlier, Noah's done some of our posters. Brilliant tattoo artist. He has a place called Moo Tattoo, which is on South Street. And so I had Noah add some gears around it. Now, tattoo artists will not touch another artist's work. And again, it's an Eric Hogan. So, so Noah did the gears. And then a lot of people don't like trash polka. I love trash polka. I think trash polka is a very cool style. And I love color. So I got a little pop of color here. And in nature, the male of the species is usually very colorful. And we're not. So, go like in nature, David Bowie would be the norm for a male. It's bright, colorful. So I love having color done on mine. So Noah did the trash polka line here. I was planning pre-COVID to go back, and I was going to do these on 2 days at 2 different places. You'll see the other arm in a minute. I was going to have some biomech added in and around here, which I still plan to do. And that'll probably be kind of gray, maybe. I may do a color thing around here. Talk to Noah about it. But yeah, eventually you'll see some biomech here. Kind of lucky because it used to be they didn't like working on older skin, and I'm almost 60. But unfortunately, my skin has held up pretty well. Got some elasticity to it. So I've been told I will be okay. Let's see the other arm, shall we? All right, John Howie, my buddy over at Frequency Tattoo, did this. And let's see if we can, I want to line this up properly. This is a little light in here. You might not be able to see it too well. That's a plague doctor. And I have a very colorful plague doctor on my arm. And I got the plague doctor long before the plague. So I credit the plague doctor with keeping the plague away from me. Some people go, my aunt has a crucifix. Oh, how's that working out for her? I'm fine. And I've got a plague doctor. So I really love this. John Howie and I went out and got shit-faced after I got this. And I think I threw up. I woke up on the bathroom floor the next day. But it was an honor to get a Frequency Tattoo. I mentioned it when we do our shows at the cemetery. He's in East Falls. He's right down the street from the cemetery. We'll give you links to all of this stuff. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, bad tattoos, hate symbols. If there's a tattoo shop that's doing hate symbols, you shouldn't be open. None of my friends will do hate symbols. We talked about laser surgery. That's what laser surgery is for. People who were young and thought they were being badass and got all sorts of hate symbols. And still to this day, I'll follow tattoo things. And a lot of times they're not knowing, and they'll put what they don't know as a hate symbol. And we're like, you don't want to show that. The other thing, corporate logos. I once was on a podcast with a young lady who had an Apple logo tattoo. I was like, but again, I don't judge tattoos, because if you like it and it's not, a swastika, then I'm down with it. So, yeah, I would definitely say, if you like it, it's not that bad. Again, I mentioned band logos. That band logo, you're tied to it now. They make a bad album, that's on your arm. So I would recommend that you can never go wrong with either a David Bowie tattoo. So if I got something elsewhere in my body, I'd probably get a Thin White Duke, because that's my favorite era Bowie, or Klaus Nomi. Get a goddamn Klaus Nomi tattoo. Like a friend of mine who's a DJ has a Klaus Nomi tattoo. It looks great. You get Klaus Nomi with that angular suit and that look. You cannot go wrong with it. Definitely get that. So yeah, that's just checking my notes to see if there's anything I wanted to mention, but my notes are all scribbled. Oh yeah, if you can, we've talked about Noah. Moo Tattoo, he runs a special every Thanksgiving. And except for this year, because, COVID, Vienna and I go down and hang out. Sometimes we get tattooed. But you've got to hang out in a tattoo parlor on Thanksgiving. You will hear stories that Noah told a story one time. I'll quickly tell it about this woman that came in, brought in a kid, and they were like, she had a little, like 2-year-old or something with her. And they're like, no, you can't bring a kid in here. So she went downstairs. She comes back later by herself. And then Noah's assistant walked in and was like, get out of here now. And Noah's like, what's the problem? It turns out she'd taken her kid, put her kid in like a stroller, and locked him to the railing downstairs. And so, Noah had gone to a bar to tell the story. And I think he went to Tattoo Moms to tell the story. And he starts telling about, and the guy goes, who was at another tattoo shop, goes, and you went downstairs and the kid was locked up to the railing, right? And he goes, how'd you know? He goes, she came to our place like 2 hours later and did the same thing. So yeah, I've probably taken up more time, but I really do love tattoos. I think if you can get one, get one. If it's against your religion, you're probably wearing blended fabrics anyway. So you're going to hell no matter what. So go to hell with a tattoo. All right, I'm done.
And you've trimmed your beard.
And you trim your beard, yes.
I'm not a big fan of tattoos myself. I don't have one. But if I was forced at gunpoint to get a tattoo, I would go to Donno Layton's place in North Carolina. I like just about every tattoo he's shown on his Instagram page. I thought looked pretty cool. I like his style. As far as bad tattoos go, as Dean mentioned, there are gazillions of pages and YouTube channels devoted to bad tattoos. There's this one guy named Fluffee who does Fluffy Talks. You may have heard of him. He's like a social commentator who's kind of like annoying the way he talks, like Andy Rooney-esque. But
Ever wonder?
Yeah, he has those you're bad at Tinder, you're bad at Walmart kind of things, and he just has pictures of people in comments. But he's done over 100 world's worst tattoo videos over the past decade. And one of his recent ones I've seen that I think is a horrid tattoo is a bat wing, like sort of like a Batman thing, but not quite, but on his forehead, like that creepy, yeah. But it says COVID-19 over it, and it's on his forehead, which I think is just a really bad place to get a tattoo anyway, but to have that. But also somebody put eyebrow tattoos, but not where their eyebrows go, but above it. So now they have, it's just, I'll put a link to the video.
I've seen some that are like totally misaligned.
Ever wonder what it'd be like if your eyebrows are up here? I'm going to be doing Andy Rooney for the rest of the time. Why was Hervé Villachez called Tattoo? He didn't have any tattoos. What about the plane?
One of the coolest tattoos I've seen on Instagram is on a woman who calls herself Octo-Booty. Do you know this person? She's like a dancer. She has a octopus, but it's almost like a full body or a third body, but it's on her back, on her legs, and on her rear end, and that's where she does most of her dancing, is on her rear end. That's it's really colorful, and I think it's really well done. There's even some videos of her getting work done on it. So yeah, I don't have any, but if I did, I'd probably get one by Donno Layton.
You should get one of Andy Rooney riding a unicorn.
Andy Rooney with a unicorn?
I don't see any corn.
I forgot to mention earlier that my son has 3 tattoos, and they're on his left arm, and they're 3 characters from the Miyazaki movies. They're very well done. I'm not sure of the artist, but they're really good.
I would have killed if you said it had Andy Rooney, Morley Safer, and Leslie Stahl.
All right, Dan.
I wanted to first comment on how quickly tattoos seem to become like okay. Like Dean, you were saying, like it seemed, you know, I remember I was just talking to Chrissy about how my cousin Tim got a tattoo on his arm, his forearm, in 2000 or something. And the restaurant, he was working for Iron Hill, I think, at the time, and they were like, "Oh, you have to cover those up." Like he had to cover it up with like a bandage or like some kind of like an armband or something. And I remember being like, "That's weird." And then, you know, here we are 20 years later, and that's a ridiculous concept. But I think that's great because I've always liked tattoos. I never thought I was going to get one, really. I kind of toyed with the idea, and 2 years ago on my birthday, Chrissy and our friend Beth, I guess for all intents and purposes, kind of kidnapped me on my birthday and took me up to Connecticut. And then they blindfolded me and brought me into a building.
This is a family show, Dan.
And I was like, they're saying, you have any idea what's going on? I was like, I have no idea what's going on. And then they sat me down somebody sat me down in a chair, and all of a sudden it was very warm over my head with a light. And I was like, all right, what the hell's going on? And then they took the blindfold off, and it was Chrissy's cousin, Mariah, and her husband, Brenton.
Next week on Law and Order Special Victim Unit.
They had me on a chair in like a hair salon. There was like a heating thing, and it was a joke because Brenton has a tattoo parlor right next door. And this was, oh my God, it had to be 11:30 at night or something. And they were like, all right, surprise, if you want a tattoo, you can get one right now. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, I'll only get it if Chrissy gets a matching one. So I had talked about it before because Chrissy drew a picture of a seahorse on a wall in the first place we lived in, which was basically a squaw house. But she drew a picture of it, and that was a long time ago. Incidentally, today, I met Chrissy 14 years ago today. So we've been...
Hooray!
One of our little anniversary things. But, so Brenton, in his infinite talent, had drawn up this seahorse. And what's cool is it has like the bubbles are like little musical notes, kind of.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so Chrissy has one, hers are green and gold. Yeah.
And the male seahorse gives birth, right?
Yes, and he squirts out a lot of them, and only it's like 0.5% of them actually survive. The rest are food.
He's a slut.
So yeah, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, and I said I would do it if he gave Chrissy one. So hers is on her right arm. So like we have to link arms in order to have them together. And it's funny, everybody's always said, once you get one, you're going to want more. And like, I kind of do, but I don't really know. Like Dean, you were saying you never really thought of anything you wanted. And I always had so many ideas, and I was like, nah, I can't choose one. And then I was like, oh, I could get a bunch. And I'm like, I'm kind of into symmetry and patterns. And I feel weird if like, now I feel like if I get something, it has to be on the other side, or like the other side of the arm. And I feel limited in where I would want a tattoo. Something I love is like how like it's almost like a cultural norm in New Orleans to have facial tattoos. It's almost like in order to live there, you have to get one. And I think that's awesome. I love when people, and I don't consider any tattoo bad because it's not on my body. You want to have it on your body? I don't give a shit. I would love to look at it. I would love to look at it and be like, that is ridiculous. But I'm really glad you have it. So yeah, and it's funny. We have several tattoo artist friends, and they're all talented. Maybe I should get something from each of them. I don't know. Maybe that'll be like a goal.
Collect the set.
Ever wonder why they call it a seahorse? If you try to ride one at the aquarium, they throw you out.
Okay, well, that's good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Let's move on to recommendations. So tonight I'm going to recommend a couple of things, a couple of weird things. One is not weird, but just different. One is I'm going to recommend Boursin garlic and fine herb gourmet cheese.
Ooh.
You can buy it at the supermarket. It is a soft spreadable cheese that's nice and flavorful. You can spread it on crackers or bread. It's good on bagels. So it's a very nice cheese. My wife and I love cheese, and it's one of our favorite cheeses. So I recommend that. And I'm going to recommend 2 CDs. and they're not from the rock and roll or punk rock or electronic or any genre. The first one I'm going to recommend is a saxophone player who was most active in the late 50s and early 60s. In fact, his name is Hank Crawford, and he was the arranger for Ray Charles, this band, but he put out his own music, and he had a small combo, and I really liked his music. The CD that I got is just a collection, and we'll provide a link. It's got his first 3 albums plus a bonus CD of a live recording of a Ray Charles show, which he's playing saxophone on. But these first 2 CDs are really good if you like jazz saxophone. I know it's not for everybody. And the other CD I'm going to recommend, which I've been listening a lot to, is a classical CD. It's by a Italian cello player from the 1700s to the early 1800s, Boccherini. And this is a recording of his flute quintets, and I highly recommend that. So
I think it's great he's still releasing stuff.
yeah.
You know, like when you get those Tupac tapes, you know, you're like, oh, that's good. All right. I'd like to recommend
I think it's early stuff.
Okay, so are you gentlemen, I was wondering about this. I don't know how many people are familiar with him. Just a quick poll. Are you gentlemen familiar with the works of Neil Breen?
No.
Yeah, that's good, because now I thought a lot of people might know about him. All right. If to understand Neil Breen, take the ego of Tommy Wiseau, who made The Room, combine that with the total ineptitude of the guy who made Birdemic, and then toss in a little bit of the awful film Lichen Colony, and you've got Neil Breen. They call him Neil Green Screen Breen because oftentimes he'll put a green screen behind him with stock footage. So you'll see people not moving. Like he's like, you know, I went to save a SEAL team who was stuck in a terrorist building, and like he'll appear and then come on, fellas, but they don't move because it's just a still photo. It is incredible. He usually in every film he usually plays this sort of space Jesus who comes to Earth and exposes corporate and government corruption. He has made, in the film I Am Here Now, he actually plays a character called, I Am Here, ... Now. He plays a character called The Being, which gives you an idea of like what you're dealing with. He's made 5 films. He's made Double Down. He's made I Am Here Now. He's made my favorite, Fateful Findings, which I'll discuss in a little bit here, Pass Thru, and he made a film called Twisted Pair. That was the last film he made in 2018, and he plays twins in that movie. So here's a man who can't handle one role, taking on 2. Fateful Findings, you have to see it. There's an incredible scene where the neighbor's daughter, who's in her early 20s, comes over and she takes off her top. It's basically risky business. She's at the pool, but it's not risky business. Although some genius went and put that Cars song behind it, so it looked like risky business. So she does that. Then she comes in and she starts taking a bubble bath. And then Neil Breen goes, he goes, please don't do this. You can't do this. And she looks into the camera. It's the best break of the fourth wall ever. It's unintentional, with this look of, why am I here? Why am I doing this? I'm going to give you the synopsis. I really want to sell these Neil Breen films. This is the synopsis for my favorite Neil Breen film, Fateful Findings, okay? A computer scientist / novelist reunites with his childhood friend, hacks into government databases, and faces the dire and fateful consequences of the mystical actions he obtained in childhood. And the other one, because I mentioned it earlier, is I Am Here Now. This is the synopsis of it. Disappointed by its creation, the almighty being that created man arrives on Earth in human form and interacts with various troubled, wicked, and sinful people on his journey to Vegas. I really go seek these out. There a couple of them are on Amazon. Once COVID is over, I plan to have a Neil Breen party. There's no way you'll just start cracking up every few seconds. So go start down the journey into the world of Neil Breen. Thank you.
I can't wait to watch this. Thanks. I'd like to recommend Higher Ground Tattoo. It's Donno Layton's tattoo place in Bryson City, North Carolina. That's the western part of the state. So if you're in the area and you're looking for a tattoo, give him a call. We'll put links to his Facebook and Instagram.
I would like, well, first, Brenton Baum is a Red Letters Tattoo in Danbury, Connecticut. Or is it in Danbury? Oh, we'll put a link. But he's the one that did my tattoo. And also, just for other reference, Donno did a couple low budgets album covers. Actually, all of them, I guess, of the full lengths. So yeah, we've known Donno for a long time. He's a good guy. And Pat Whalen is another tattoo artist who did some low budgets. I know I'm like talking about a different band, but whatever. But I would like to recommend, if you haven't watched Twin Peaks, it's on Netflix. You should watch it. If you have watched it and it's been a while, you should watch it again, because I missed it when it came around because I was a wee lad. Well, I was about 12 and it was like too much for me. I was like, I don't get it. And I didn't bother watching it when it was on. But I had VHS dub tapes of it and I watched it probably back in like 2000 and I loved it. And I haven't seen it since. And Chrissy hadn't seen it. So we watched it. It's on Netflix. And now we're watching the season that they made a few years ago, which I hadn't seen yet, and is super weird.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely
pretty
great.
Good so far. We're only like 4 or 5 episodes in, but it's really, it's pepped up the weirdness. So if you haven't seen Twin Peaks and you have Netflix, you should watch it.
I was obsessed with Twin Peaks when it was on. And the actress who played Laura Palmer, doesn't she? Laura Palmer. She was almost in a Dead Milkmen video.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Which one?
What?
Yeah. I guess it was I forget which one. Adam. It was obviously one of the ones Adam was working on. I'm trying to remember, but Adam had bumped into her.
Was
Like,
it Secret of Life, maybe?
What? Yeah, I think it might have been Secret of Life or something, or maybe the one we were out in the desert. But he had bumped into her, and she was actually leaving the country the next day, which I would do if somebody asked me.
I gotta
Want to be
go.
in a Dead Milkman video? No, I'm out of here.
That's why you don't see much of me in the Punk Rock Girl video. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna leave the country.